Cublings. Okay, I'm doing something a little bit different. So if you see my model acting weird, I do apologize. I can't English. I do apologize. But I am going to be challenging myself while I'm reacting to these retail stories. I am going to be doing squats because I am starting to lose my karate booty. I don't like it. So now the first video we are reacting to is got a corporate complaint for being too bubbly. Wait, what? How can you get a corporate complaint for being too bubbly? Like how? No, I don't. That's bullshit. Anyway, let's continue. People complain over stupid things. Okay. As I was ringing up a customer, she gives me two coupons. Both coupons indicate that they can't be combined. So I suggest she saves one for later use. I have an optimistic, upbeat, friendly personality. I'm also pretty empathetic and I always try my best to deliver disappointing news in good light. Oh, wow, that burns. Burn, baby, burn. Okay, anyway. Okay. She continues to press me about combining the coupons, and I tell her that I understand her frustration, but I repeat that the coupons cannot be combined. I stay calm and kind. A few days later, my store manager asks to talk to me in the back. He starts off by telling me not to change who I am after we talk and giggle. Then he proceeds to tell me I had a formal corporate complaint from a customer for being too bubbly. This burns. um, she said my interaction with her was insincere and therefore made her very uncomfortable. This customer made no mention of the request for coupon stacking. Thankfully, my store manager was already aware of the initial incident, but he still had to file the report into my employee records since it came from corporate. Okay, taking a break. That is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Whoa, that burns. It's all about breathing. It's all about breathing. I think I'm using the wrong muscles. I really need to train again. Okay, so my ring function. Ah! Okay, what is wrong with people? Like you. Okay, see, this is what I mean by customers are weird. They complain when you're not friendly. They complain when you're too friendly. They complain when you.
Oh no, she's brain damaged!
What do you want? Do you want us to be friendly and kind and, get you the help that you need with a smile on our face? Or do you want us to be miserable and disrespectful and give you shit? Like, you can't have it both ways. There is no middle. Like, what? Okay, but that's just my rant on the story. I absolutely love the manager here. Um, I absolutely love the manager. I had a similar thing happen to me, and I'll get into it. Like, I love the fact that the manager laughed at this complaint because it is absolutely ridiculous. And I'll rate this like a one or a two because it's not that big of a deal. But getting to my story, so what happened with me was I was helping this customer. She was looking for a particular book and we didn't have it in store. So I said, I can't find it anywhere right now. Can you please leave me your details? I took down her name. I took down her number. I even got her email address, the name of the book, the title of the book. Okay, I got all that information. Oh, the song. The radio is on. And I just heard that song. Okay, so yeah, this customer was looking for a specific book. Took down all her details, and then when she left, I looked for the book. I can't remember if I could find it or not. I think I could find it, but I did no, I don't think I could find it. I get back to the customer. I tried phoning, and in my book, because each of us had our own little booklets, in my book, I written down the times I phoned her, and there has been proof that I sent her emails and stuff like that. And this customer didn't walk away upset. This customer didn't walk away, mean or anything. Like everything was dealt with professionally. She was friendly. I was friendly. I got her details, and like everything was normal. And next thing I know, I'm getting called into my manager calls me into her office, and she's just like, "Listen, you got this complaint from this customer," and I'm like, "That you never got back to her. She went to head office. She didn't phone it. She went to complain to head office," and I'm like, "What?" And then I gave them my book and I showed them all the emails I sent this customer, showing them that I did try and get a hold of her. This is the information I could find on the book and whatnot. So my manager, she was angry. She was just like, "Okay, so then why is she complaining? You did get back to her." I'm like, "I don't know." She sent all that information with the head office. The head office, like, got upset with the customer because the customer was in the wrong. So, yes, customers are not always right, guys. So the customer was in the wrong, and yes, they did speak to the customer, because I have never heard from that customer again, and she never she never stepped a foot into the store again because, like, what? I think she was just upset because I couldn't find her the book, and she thought that I was just being lazy, and I just sent her the information, be like, "I can't find the book," But I had proof. Like even my manager looked to see if she could find the book, and it was like, "No, we couldn't find the book." I think that was why she complained. I don't think her complaint was because I'd never got back to her. I think she complained because we couldn't get her what we. It was like if we can't get her what she wants, then so I think she was just throwing a tantrum because we couldn't get to what she wants. But I was doing my job, and she complained about me doing my job. Why? But yeah, like I mean, head office stuck to my head office stood by me. My manager stood by me. The rest of the employees stood by me. So love to see it. Love seeing stories like this. And for that, rating this a 1 or 2 out of 5 situation. But yeah, okay. So uh, the next story we're gonna be reading, I'm gonna go back and hold my squat. This is a medium story. Oh, this is gonna be more painful than the short story. Oh, okay. Let me take a sip of my coffee before I get into it. I have a regular customer who comes in and tries a barter with me or vapes. He'll constantly ask if I can give him a discount. And just a few minutes ago, he made me want to explode him with my mind. Okay. Oh, that burns. I forgot how much holding a squat burns. Like, I used to be able to hold squats. Like, what is this? Oh, okay, here we go. He came in and asked to look at the $5, $10, $15 disposal vape grab boxes we keep behind the counter. There are 3 separate boxes, separately labeled 5, 10, and 15. I bring them out for him to look through, and he starts talking about every vape has different effects, right? And I just look at him and I say, I mean, different flavors, yeah, but it's all nicotine, so. And he looks at me like I have 3 heads. Okay, okay. I see where this is going. Then he starts moving the vapes between grab boxes based on his opinion of how much they should actually cost. I put them back behind the counter and will now have to deal with rearranging them based on their correct prices. That annoys me. Put things back where you found them. Does I'm sorry. How were you raised? Don't you put things back where they belong in your own home? Like, I can't. Anyway. Finally, I'm ringing him up and he says he uses the store phone number for his rewards account. Okay, sure. I type the store phone number and sure enough, there's an account attached to it. I tell him his total and he goes, "What? No discount? Isn't that what we just talked about?" I look at him again. Holy squats off. Kicking my ass. "No, there's no discounts on the box vapes." He says he'll pay cash and then for some reason starts trying to mess with the iPad that's facing him and showing him his total. It's not interactive, literally just a screen that shows the item and total. I tell him it's not a touch screen. Oh my word. Yeah, it is, and still nothing happens on the iPad screen. It still displays his total. He gives up, tells me he's going to get cash, and he has not come back yet. I hate it, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, and I forgot to mention, just before he left the store, he searched through the trash can for discarded vapes. Okay, sitting down now. Ow, my legs are burning. My legs are burning. The muscles, the muscles ain't The right muscles ain't working. Oh wait, I feel something. I feel ah yeah, that's what I'm looking for. This is gonna be one chaotic stream. Oh, I'm out of breath already, and all I've been doing is holding squats. I really need to get my stamina up. Anyway, okay. So did he walk away with the vape? Because that is not made clear here. And if he did, aren't there cameras in your store where he can be banned that you can show head office or the owner of the store and whatnot? And if the store is a franchise, they like have this guy's pictures up everywhere to prevent him from coming into the store and stealing, possibly stealing. And why would you go through? Okay, let me just not ask that question. If you're desperate, you're desperate. Yeah, delete his account and ban him. This kind of BS isn't okay. No, it's not. Ban him. See, I said the same thing. Ban him. Like a lot of these comments is like saying ban him, ban him. I agree. I wouldn't rate this a 5. Yeah, it's a sucky situation. Yeah, you dealt with a pain in the butt. But you know what? I would say this is maybe like a 2 or 3. I wouldn't. Don't waste your time and energy and emotions on people like this. I mean, it's not worth it. Like just let them go, let the head office know what's going on, or let your manager know, or the owner, depending how small or big the shop is, and if it's a franchise. And if it's a franchise, you let other stores know about this person. You send this guy's picture to him because I'm pretty sure you got cameras in your store, and then just let word spread and be like, hey, listen, just be careful of this guy, you know? Just that's the best you can do. I mean, that's how I would have handled the situation. Like, just have a poker face, like a deadpan face, and just be like, okay, mm, mm, yeah, yeah, sure, sure, go draw your money. Okay, bye. And then wait for about 30 minutes for them to come back because you don't know if there's a queue at an ATM or not, depending on how busy. If not, then wait about 10-15 minutes. If it is a bit busy, then wait about 30 minutes. And if nothing happens, go take those steps. But I would say this is like a 2 or 3 out of 5. I wouldn't say this is like a you know. I'm actually enjoying these stories this week. Like normally stories get me all riled up and I'm like, oh. This time not so much. I don't think I can do squats anymore, not on a medium. Like my legs are on fire. This is yeah, there was no way I was gonna hold that. Mm-mm. Maybe the last one. Maybe the last one I will hold the squats, but the next two like no, I can't. My legs, she is burning. And we have our mug. Chat, we have our mug. Wait, so you're streaming on Twitch? Yes, guys, I stream on Twitch. This is funny. There we go. We got it. We got it. There we go. Nice. Now we can drink coffee like professionals. No, that did not work. Oh, I'm crazy. Okay, anyway, next story. So this happened in the first hour of my shift. Okay, what story is this? Man has a fit over an ID. Why is it always people having a fit over an ID? It doesn't make any sense. Guy got a fuel at guy got fuel at the pumps and came in to pay. Wanted some Montego cigarettes as well. Asked for a short pack of Montego. We got multiple types, so I asked him in return if he wanted reds, lights, or menthol shorts. His response just marches on behind the counter to grab the pack himself. And when I tried to tell him he can't come back behind the counter, he did that whatever kind of motion. First red flag. I can understand, like, don't walk behind the counter, guys. If you're a customer, please don't do that. That is not where you belong, okay? But at the same time, I can understand where the customer is coming from because normally, if I go to the shop and be like, "Hey, listen, can I have this?" and I don't specify a flavor or and like a different type or anything like that, then I want the original or the normal pack. I don't want the different flavors or the different types of that brand or whatever. If I wanted the different types, I would have asked for that different types. So I understand why the customer asked, but at the same time, I also understand where the customer is coming from. But anyway, moving on. Regardless, I ring up his smokes, ask for an ID. He tries to rattle off a date instead and then gets super defensive he needs when I told him we need a physical ID. You're the only one who cares. Like, dude, I'm just doing my job. Management says we require a physical ID. You need to provide a physical ID. So he went back to his car, brought back an ID. It wasn't his. It was so painfully obvious not his IDs. Not unless he was secretly a 50-year-old woman. That ID was not his. Oh, okay. Now I tried to give him the benefits of the doubt. I've had people who keep family members' IDs on them and grab them by accident when they come into the store. And this woman could have been his grandma for all I knew. Okay, makes sense. So I handed the card back to him, told him that it looked like he handed me the wrong ID by mistake. Nope, he intended to use that ID. Insisted it should be fine because you need an ID. Well, here's an ID. Listen, if you're stupid, you're stupid. Like you can't fix it. You can't fix it. But when I point blank told him I couldn't use that ID unless the lady it belonged to was present, boy flipped out yelling about how I'm the only person in this whole town who requires an ID, how our store needs to hire better people, blah 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 blah. Just a bunch of whining about how I'm an awful person and how dare I. I kind of started tuning him out, to be honest, but he grabbed a pack of smokes, threw them behind the counter, and yipped on about how he's only getting the fuel. Okay, fine by me. I asked him which pump he was on and only served to get him on, only to be yelled at some more because how far I was. People learn how to English. Okay, I asked him which pump he was on, only served to get him yelling at me more because how far I was confirmation over picking a random pump. Okay, so the customer yelled at this guy some more because he asked for confirmation on which pump is his, which makes sense because there's other cars there. Hello? Told him while he was paying that because of his behavior he wouldn't be welcome back in the store after this. Don't think he heard me because he was still complaining about how I wouldn't let him use some random lady's ID. I'll probably see him again at some point this week, knowing my luck, so it'll be interesting how a second encounter will go. I don't understand why management didn't step in. I would say this is like a 3 or 4. I wouldn't say a 5. Like a 5 is when a 5 is when like there's an actual physical fight where there's injuries, where police are involved, where, like drastic measures has to be taken. So I would say this is like a 3 or 4 out of 5, because this customer had to deal with this this teller, sorry, had to deal with this customer on his own. And where was the management in this? Like, why did management step in? And if security was there, if the shop had security, why didn't security step in and remove this guy off the property, out of the store for behaving the way he did? Like, that's what I say. Like, this is why I'm saying, like, maybe a 4, because nobody stepped in. Nobody is like, You need to leave now. We are not serving you any longer." So that's why I would rate this. How I would have handled the situation, like when he started screaming and shouting at me, I would have get the manager involved. I would have called for the manager. I would have been like, "Okay, so I can see you upset. Let me get management. Let me get the manager, and let's see if our manager can help you out." I'll explain the situation to the manager of like, and show the ID to the manager that this customer showed me, and I'll let management take it from there. And if the manager was occupied with something else, then I would have called security and I would be like, "Can you please remove this man from my property, or find him a different somebody else to help him, because he's being impossible, and he's you know." So that's how I would have handled the situation. Interest, or out of curiosity, how would you guys have handled this situation? I would love to hear your story. And if you were the customer, like, would you go off the way this guy go went off? Like, you can be honest in the comments. I would love to hear your stories. Okay, so fourth story of the day. I made my first customer of the day mad and was amused. Oh, interesting. We need to sip our tea, I mean coffee. Why doesn't the mug reach the mouth? I don't like this. No, this is wrong. I need to find a drinking action. I need to find a drinking action. Now, I want to start by saying I'm not usually like this. I don't know why I snapped when my shift just started or found pleasure in her anger, but there's no undoing the past now. Red flag. I'm sorry, if you find pleasure in somebody else's anger and frustration and pain and stuff like that, there's something wrong with you. That's a red flag. Now, I know circumstances differ and stuff like that. I've got like cat hair all over my shirts. Uh, um, now I know, like, in some circumstances you want to be like, and this is something I've been recently struggling with, when somebody has hurt you, or when somebody has done something to you and you see them getting punished for their actions, or you see that there are consequences to their actions and stuff like that, and you sitting there and you're like, "Ooh, yes, yes, getting what you deserve." Yes. Like, I understand taking pleasure in that, but that does not make it right. And every single time I catch myself doing that, I have to like fight with myself. Like, "No, you're not gonna take pleasure in this. Stop it. No." um, because it still doesn't make right. It's like just adding fuel to the flames instead of trying to put the fire out. It's not gonna make the situation better. It's just gonna make things worse, and it's kind of petty. Like, I don't, it's just something that I've found myself recently struggling with, because after all is said and done and stuff like that, you're gonna feel like an asshole. You're not gonna feel good about yourself because you took pleasure in this. So, guys, just be careful crossing that line, and just be aware of that. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. I was setting up by putting the $100 we start with in the register. Please note that my light was off. Okay. While I was talking to my coworker, I'll call her A, she was going back and forth dealing with customers on her register and talking to me. Suddenly, this lady stepped behind my counter and placed her chips and money down. Again, my light was still. off as I hadn't finished setting up. Okay. My coworker was asking whether or not she should ring the lady up. The lady herself was wondering if she should switch registers but asked me if I was open. I told her that I was about to open as I do with customers who don't understand the oh so complex system of lights on, we're working, lights off, we're closed. That seems pretty obvious. Like, you don't need people to explain this to you. I was ringing her up and this interaction occurred. I'm going to try my best to type in all of it, but know that some parts might be missing. For future reference, lights on means we're working, lights off means we're closed. Lady, I know, but when I went to the registers with lights on, there weren't any cashiers. Your light was off, but you were the only cashier at the register. I looked around to see that my other coworker was not there, presumably doing some price check. See? Me. Well, A could have helped you if you went by her register. Well, you work here, so I came to you. Anyway, you're a cashier, and you should have told her to go back to her register, as if I had the power to make anyone do anything. Miss, I'm a cashier. I have no power over what she does. Well, she should have been working instead of talking to you. Communication is part of being human, I want to add, so excuse me for being human, but at that point, she was already upset and I didn't want to cause a commotion. I don't care. She bent down to get something and smiled at A, who was looking at this interaction. I was enjoying myself. Okay, so the cashier said something she doesn't remember. Well, the customer is always right, you know. No, no, guys. That pisses me off. That's the first. That's the first haymaker. I just want to. That's the first. Oh, I want to throw a fist so bad. I want to throw. I want to punch something. No, the guys. From all these Reddit reactions that I've done, okay, learn something. And I will say this till the day I die. The customer is not always right. No, you do not know the in and outs of the business that we work in. You do not know all the policies that is in place. You do not know what our what workload we have planned for that day if we need to be in communication, or if this person has to run off and do something because the customer couldn't find what they were looking for. You do not know what's going on. So no, the customer is not always right. Whoever said that, whoever came up with, I hope you are like, that makes me so mad. I can't. I just, no. Okay, anyway, let me just move on. Me, you keep telling yourself that. This kind of sets her off further. I don't remember what she said after, but it had something to do with me being rude. I cashed her out and handed her the receipt and change. She snatched it out of my hand and said, "It's people like you that make this place go bad. This is how most people talk here. Forgive me." As she walked off, I looked at A again and smiled. Like I said, I was enjoying myself. I was about to explain to her what a, what was up when I was called over by someone who works in the office. She asked me what the issue was with the lady. I sort of summarized it well, excluding the parts where I was blatantly rude. She just said next time don't engage with them because they can get offended if we say something. Yeah, the cashier is in the wrong here. I'm not saying the customer was right in this case, but the cashier could have handled this better. One, I finally told her and my other coworker what happened. I made sure to put emphasis on the parts where she wanted me to tell A to go back to her register instead of talking to me, then explaining how I have no power over what A does. A mentioned how I handed her the receipt nicely, but she snatched it out of my hand, and another coworker commented how she would have left it on the counter for her to pick up. I replied that the only reason I did was because I wasn't mad. I was genuinely enjoying myself and partially worried that this could get me fired. Lately, I've been aggressive and rude with customers when I don't mean to be. It hasn't even been a year yet since I started working, and the stress is finally getting to me. I don't know if I'll be working here for longer than a year. I only have 1 year left of high school and to go to uni as soon as summer vacation is over next year. I'll need the money, and I want to put on my resume that I was, and I don't want to put on my resume that I was fired for being rude. I'd rather resign on good terms so that I can call them if I need a reference for my future workplace. Yeah, this is on the cashier. Like, she could have handled the situation. Like, I would have been like, okay, see, this is how I would have handled the situation. Okay, and I get that she's still in school, like, she's inexperienced and whatnot. But if you do not want to give yourself a bad name for future employees, here's a little tidbit. Do not be rude to customers. Just because you're having a bad day, this is not how this works. And do not enjoy being rude to customers. This is a huge red flag. I would not hire this person. This cashier is completely in the wrong. And um, the only thing that got me upset was when the customer said the customer's always right. In this case, the customer was right. But no, the customer is not always right. Like, no. But yeah, no, like the cashier was completely in the wrong. So how I would have handled the situation if somebody came to my counter and I was busy setting up in my account and I wasn't open yet. And this lady's like, well, I went to all the other counters and like you're the only cashier here. And I'm like, okay, can you maybe give me a minute or two so I can finish setting up? Well, also I can just like, finish setting up and open up my cashier and stuff so I can ring you up. If I'm not set up, I won't be able to ring you up. And then depending on what the customer says, she's like, no, I need to go now. It's like, okay, just hold on. Then I would have called for the other cashier and be like, hey, listen, there's a customer here by the till. She wants to pay. I'm still busy setting up. It's gonna take some time. Can you maybe please come back and help this customer? Or like uh, whatever she's busy doing and whatnot. And then, and also, like, I understand that communication needs to happen, but you do not leave your till to go to your friend to have a conversation and then go back to your till. And then when you're done ringing up that person, then go back to your friend and have a conversation. This is not a social gathering. This is work. So even the other cashier was in the wrong for this. So yeah, the customer was right in this. That see, if I was the customer, I would have complained about how the situation was handled. I would have complained about the talking and whatnot. And I would have said, like, I work in retail. I know how these things work. And no, they were not talking about work stuff. They were talking about their their personal lives when when the store is a little bit busy. Like, I can understand when the store is not busy and all the work is done and there's nothing else to do, you are gonna talk to one another. That I do get. But other than that, nah, like both the cashiers was wrong. I would have called the cashier back to accounts. I would have been like, hey, listen, we're a little bit busy. Can you please come back to your um till so you can ring this lady up? And then I would have apologized to the customer, like, I am so sorry for the inconvenience. We'll strive to do better in the future. That's how you handle this situation. You don't be rude about it. And you do not talk to customers like they're idiots when you are clearly in the wrong. And when the customer calls you out on your bullshit, you do not talk to them like they're idiots. You do not be rude to them. You apologize and be like, you know what, you're right. I should have handled the situation. I'm sorry. And then it's up to the customer to accept your apology or not. But no, the cashiers were completely in the wrong for this. And when you're reporting back to your manager, why would you want to leave out all the information? Yeah, to check out, they need both lights on and someone to run the lane. How was she supposed to know where A was and when she'd be back? I can understand why in this situation she came to you. Perhaps this is not the job for you. Exactly, exactly. You unnecessarily antagonized her and pushed the situation to a direction that it didn't need to go. You're lucky you didn't get written up for this. Thank you. Veteran cashier here. The lady seemed nice about it at the start of your interaction. You escalated the situation when you said for future reference. You didn't have to do that. When she approached you, you could have been politely told her that you weren't quite set up yet and that you'd help her in a minute if she wanted to wait. Or you could ask her if she wanted to switch lanes while you opened your register. It seems she made an honest mistake and you ran the wrong direction with it. I agree, this probably is not the job for you. It's literally all you had to say. Never say, I'm about to open. Sorry, miss, this register is closed. Exactly. Do you go straight to work from high school? If you do, maybe you need to take a break, 15 minutes walk, then 15 minutes sit down and relax, soda, coffee, whatever. Part of working with the public is understanding what to say and when to say it. I'm sorry, but my register is closed for the moment was enough to say. Yeah, like like it looks like a lot of the comments are in agreement with what I just said, but she shouldn't be working there. Like I would have written her up. Like she should have been written up. She should have been given a warning. Okay, so last story and last squats for the day. Let's see if we can actually hold it this time. Okay, let's do this. Oh, okay, here we go. A complicated return. All right, sure. This happened a couple of weeks ago at my job at a very popular jeans store. A woman came in claiming she would have a fairly complicated return, since she was technically past the 30-day time limit, but she had a decent reason. Okay. When she received the shirt she had as a gift, her arms was broken, so she couldn't try it on and had to wait for it to heal before she realized it didn't fit her. Okay, she was polite, so the manager had worked out a compromise. She could either exchange it for another of the same item in the same size, or receive a gift card for its current value, which is fair. With everything set up, she opened the bag the shirt was in and then realized the button said Lee. This immediately raised flags because our store only carries Levi products, not Lee. Fortunately, she noticed the mistake before she even handed the shirt to the manager and excused herself. You know, it's nice to have a customer realize they made a mistake and apologize without any drama. So, oh, the story is amazing. I actually held the squats this time. I'm so proud of myself. Oh, yes. Oh, I love seeing this. Like everybody was so understanding. I mean, the customer was understanding. She's like, "Oh, my bad." You know, oh, this is a zero. Like no drama, no nothing. I love it. Okay, I'm so glad this ended on a positive note. But I would still love to hear your comments. I would still love to see how you guys would have handled the situation as a customer or as somebody who works in retail. Um, and then also, what do you guys think of the stories and how would you rate these stories? But yeah, with that being said, oh, I'm out of breath now. With that being said, until the next set of retail stories, I'm gonna go ahead and say bye, my cublings. I just spilled coffee all over myself.